Psalms 41:9. Even my closest friend whom I trusted, the one who ate my bread, has lifted his heel against me. Bible Betrayals. Hi everybody, welcome back to Level Uploading Fight Feelings Face Facts. I hope you guys are enjoying my new series, It Be Your Own People, where we dive into biblical betrayals. If you haven't checked out the first episode, which was highlighting Adam and Eve, please go back and check it out. Of course, since we talked about Adam and Eve on the last episode, I felt it was only right that today's episode highlights their sons, Cain and Abel. After sin entered the world, let's just say things escalated a bit much. I know most of us already may be familiar with the story of Cain and Abel, but just like last time, I'm going to give you guys a very paraphrased, generic synopsis just in case you are not. So Cain and Abel are the sons of Adam and Eve. Cain and Abel were the first human beings that were actually conceived, which means that they're the first ones that came from intercourse, brown chicken, brown cow. You know what I'm saying? And so, of course, Eve had to become with child. She had to be pregnant. So that is what I mean when I say first conceived human beings. So Abel was a shepherd and Cain worked the ground. So basically he was like a field worker, I guess you could say. One day it was a time for them to give a sacrifice and an offering to the Lord. So Abel, being a shepherd, brought some of his firstborn sheep and put that on the altar. Cain, being, a field worker, he had crops and he brought fruit and put that on the altar. Unfortunately for Cain, his offering was not accepted and not pleasing to the Lord. However, he did accept Abel's offering, which of course upset Cain severely, and he was filled with jealousy, envy, woe is me. He really was not feeling the fact that that favor that God bestowed upon Abel was not bestowed upon him. So God, seeing that Cain was very much in his feelings, by feelings face facts, he came and he basically told him, hey look, stop looking like that and get over it. Next time do better. If you got better, give better, be better, and you'll receive better. Until then, it is what it is. Don't sit here and wallow in self-pity because your brother gave freely and you gave sparingly. Totally paraphrase, guys. Totally paraphrase. Go read Genesis yourself too, just so you can be clear. God also warned Cain that if he let that fester and let that jealousy and envy fester, that sin would gladly come in and wreak havoc on his life. Not only his life, but also his heart. Cain wasn't really trying to hear that, and he just allowed that jealousy and that envy to just fester and encompass his whole entire thinking. And he said, hey bro, let's go out to the fields.
I'm in danger.
His brother was like, okay, cool. Go out to the field with him. Cain took his brother out to the field and he unalived him. Struck him and he was no longer. This was literally the first occurrence of murder on the earth.
You're a victim.
There we go, CSI.
So once Cain pretty much understood what he had done, he focused on trying to act like it didn't happen and pretend like everything was all good. Of course, you guys know we have a God that sees and knows all things. God popped up like, hey, where's your brother at? Of course, he knew already where his brother was at. He knew what had happened. He sees everything. But he was trying to give Cain an opportunity to be forthright. Basically, an opportunity to confess what he had done. And that time that he gave him, Cain was not faithful with that opportunity. He faked like he didn't know what was happening. And that's where we get our famous line, am I my brother's keeper? Which was his way of saying like, hey, I don't know what dude is that. Like, I gotta watch him. I didn't know I was babysitting today. That's basically what am I my brother's keeper? Like, do I have to hold his hand? That's kind of what he was saying to God. Like, first of all, not too much with the smart talk to my Lord and Savior, okay? But anyway. Of course, God knew already what happened. He calls him out on it and he curses Cain and says, hey, look, yeah, you work in the fields, but guess what? No crop is going to come from it. You're not going to be able to get any harvest. You're not going to be able to reap or sow. And you can't live here either. So now you're banished from the original banished place that they already were in. When they got banished from Garden of Eden, he got banished even more, okay?
You need to leave.
You double banished. Well, he wasn't in the Garden of Eden, but you know what I'm saying. So, like, Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden, got kicked out, and now their son is dead, and the other one is getting kicked out now too. So during that time, Cain was, of course, upset. He was more focused on, you know, his punishment and what was going to happen to him than being sorry or repentant for what he had done to his brother, his blood brother. The boy that he grew up with, playing and fighting and joking with, he had taken his life off of a temporary emotion. And that is why we have to fight feelings and we have to face facts. Basically, God gave him a mark that would make it where nobody who encountered him would slay him, because that was one of the fears that Cain had. Once he was banished, anyone who found him would automatically just take him out. God said, nope, not going to happen, marked him, and then kicked him out the door.
Goodbye.
Okay, so now that we've got that little paraphrase out the way, let's go ahead and dive into the ways that Cain betrayed not only his brother, but also his parents, and of course, God. Number 1, so Cain betrayed Abel by luring him into the woods with premeditated malice in his heart. Now, we don't get much detail in the Bible about their relationship prior to this, but I feel like it's safe to somewhat infer that there was some level of trust and camaraderie. After all, they were the only 2 boys in the world at that time. They must have played together, fought together, had inside jokes. Like, they were brothers, and we all know siblings have their own special relationships. Sometimes they are great, sometimes they are terrible, but they were brothers. Cain knew that Abel trusted him and that he wouldn't question his motives when he was asked to go to the woods. Abel felt safe with his brother, and no matter what brotherly rivalries they may have had, he did not ever expect that his brother would be the one responsible for ending his life. For nothing at that. Like, the man didn't do anything to him. He did nothing to deserve that. Proof that betrayal never comes from a stranger. It is safer to have an enemy that you know than a friendly secret hater. Number 2, Cain betrayed God by 1, not being able to take his warning about how sin was going to come in and wreak havoc over his heart if he continued to allow it to fester. He did not take the Lord's guidance and his leading. God wanted him to be victorious over the sin that was trying to creep in, and he did not listen. He failed miserably, and his heinous, hateful thoughts were victorious over him. Number 3, Cain thought only of himself. He betrayed his mother and father, Adam and Eve, by taking one of their beloved sons. Abel had done nothing to deserve that fate. Number 4, to make matters worse, after committing this heinous crime, murder, when God questioned him, Cain lied to God. Now, be for real. He knew that God saw everything, knew everything, heard everything, and he still chose to sin. When sin starts, it can't stop. It's just like when they say, when you tell one lie, you have to tell another one to cover it up. It's just like an ongoing cycle. So once you start to let sin win, it continues and continues to thrive and win. Like, seriously, like, you already been clowning fully between killing your brother and acting like nothing happened. But now you're gonna lie to God? Sorry, there's a lot going on right now outside. You already been clowning, showing your tail, but to lie to God, like, that's the ultimate. To lie to him when you know he knows everything, like, Bro, be for real. Literally, you're being super wild right now. Like, chill. Number 5. After taking the life of his brother, Cain was still very much only concerned with himself. I don't want to use the narcissist word, but I don't know. Maybe it was the first narcissist. We'll never know. But he was worried more about what his fate would be, what was going to happen to him. He wasn't worried about his parents. He wasn't worried about, his brother. He wasn't worried about how God was angry. He just wanted to know what's going to happen to me. Even in the most utmost trouble, being chastised by God, he still had the nerve to only be thinking about himself. Some nerve. As we look at this example of biblical betrayal, apply this lesson to your own life. Think about all the people who you have around you who you think are safe. The ones you blindly trust because you think they love you and have your best interests at heart. Do they? Just because they are family or friends, does that automatically mean that they rejoice for you when you thrive or you win? Does their relationship to you automatically make them trustworthy or harmless? Are they jealous and comparative when good things happen to you? Are they doing the bare minimum and still expect to reap the same results from you when you have to work hard for the things that you have? Like, how are you going to compare yourself to me? I'm over here breaking my back and you're doing the bare minimum, but you like, oh, how she get that? She's working for it, sis. I'm sorry, let me not put myself in a situation. Are they pretending to wish you well while luring you into the woods? Just something for you to ponder. We truly must understand that betrayal does not come from who we expect to snake us. It's always the ones we think wouldn't do us that way that actually wind up doing us that way. Now remember, this is not to inspire fear or paranoia, but just to get you thinking and aware that sometimes it be your own people. You guys have a good one. Stay vigilant. Bye.